Hey there, friends. If you're anything like I was at 26, you probably thought you had the whole world on a string, right? You had plans, ambitions, maybe even a 5-year roadmap to success. And at 36, well, perhaps you started wondering why that roadmap led you in circles or down some unexpected detours. Hitting close to home yet? I'm Karl Jacobi. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm a coach, founder, entrepreneur, CEO, husband, and a father. So let's dive in. Now, here I am at 46, and let me tell you, life has a funny way of teaching you the lessons you need most, often when you least expect them. And yes, I just gave away my age, didn't I? Don't ask me about my skincare, because I don't have any. But on a serious note, I've gathered some hard-won insights over the years. And today, and only today, not really, I want to share some life lessons that I wish I could go back in time and instill into my younger self. And spoiler alert, it's not just about hustling harder or climbing a corporate ladder faster. No, we're going much deeper than that. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into these lessons together. And trust me, sticking around could save you years of unnecessary struggle, countless sleepless nights, and maybe even a few therapy bills. You ready? Awesome, let's get started. Lesson 1. Time is your most valuable asset. Let's kick things off with something that sounds a little cliche, but is profoundly true. Time is indeed your most valuable asset. You see, when I was 26, I treated time like it was an endless resource. I'd binge watch entire seasons of TV shows, scrolling mindlessly through social media, and before you even go into the details, I recognize it wasn't available at 26, but it was at 36. So, and saying yes to commitments that didn't serve me, all under the illusion that I had all the time in the world, right? But here's the cold hard truth. Time is a non-renewable resource. Unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Unlike energy, you can't caffeinate your way into getting extra. Trust me, I've tried. Every single second that ticks by is gone forever. Honestly, think about that. I remember a mentor once told me, imagine every morning waking up and someone deposits $84,400 into your bank account. But here's the catch. You have to spend it all in one day. Whatever you don't spend disappears at midnight. What would you do? Yeah, naturally, I said I'd spend every last cent. And he smiled and said, that's how many seconds you have every single day. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I started auditing how I spend my time. Was I investing it in things that really mattered? My growth, my relationships, my health? Or was I just squandering it on frivolities? You see, I realized that time invested wisely compounds, just like money. You see, reading a book an hour for a day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's 365 hours of knowledge gained. Conversely, wasting an hour a day on things that don't enrich your life adds up to 365 hours lost. So ask yourself, how are you spending your 86,400 seconds today? Are you investing them into your future or letting them slip through your fingers like I did for a lot of my life? Lesson 2, stop disqualifying yourself. Let me get real with you. For years, I carried around this invisible list of reasons why I wasn't qualified to chase my dreams. Childhood drama, check. Failed businesses, double check. Relationships that crashed and burned, triple check, and yes, you bet. You see, I disqualified myself from opportunities before I even gave others the chance to. It was like I was the judge, the jury, and the executioner of my own potential. One day I was talking to a friend who had overcome immense obstacles, far greater than mine, to achieve incredible success. So I asked him how he managed to break free from his past. And he looked me straight in the eye and said, I stopped seeing my past as a prison and started seeing it as a passport. That flipped a switch in me. Our scars aren't symbols of shame. They're actually badges of honor. They show we've endured, survived, and even learned sometimes. Every setback, every failure, every heartbreak has equipped you with unique insights and resilience. So consider this. The most compelling stories, the ones that inspire us, aren't about people who've had it easy. They're actually about those who've faced adversity and come out stronger on the other side. Your past experiences don't disqualify you. They actually qualify you to make a difference, to emphasize, to lead. So stop holding yourself back. The world needs what only you can offer. Scars and all. Lesson 3. Lean into fear. Fear. That 4-letter word that holds so many of us back. I used to treat fear like the plague, avoiding anything that made my palms sweaty, like they are right now, or even made my heart race. Public speaking? No thank you. Start a new venture? Maybe next year. But here's what I've learned. Fear is actually a compass pointing you towards the areas where you need to grow. It's actually an indicator that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, which is exactly where meaningful progress happens. You see, let me share a little personal story with you. A few years ago, I was offered a chance to speak at a large conference. My immediate reaction was, no way, of course, to decline politely, right? The thought of staying in front of a stage or on stage in front of hundreds of people terrified me. But then I remember something a mentor once told me. If it scares you, it's probably worth doing. I took the plunge. The weeks leading up to the event were filled with lots of anxiety, but I did prepare diligently. When the day came, I stepped onto that stage, heart pounding, legs sweating, and all. And I delivered my talk. And not only did I survive, but the experience was exhilarating. It opened doors I never even knew once existed. New connections, opportunities, and a newfound confidence. The point is this. Fear can either be a jailer keeping you confined or a catalyst propelling you forward. The choice is yours. So the next time fear whispers in your ear, lean in and listen very closely. It might just be guiding you towards something absolutely amazing. 4. Heal to lead. Listen up on this one. You see, leadership isn't just about guiding others. It's about guiding yourself first. For years, I tried to lead in various capacities at work, in my community, even in my own family, without addressing my own unhealed wounds. Yeah, the result? It was like a ship with a broken rudder, veering off course and taking others with me. Unresolved issues have a way of seeping into every aspect of your life. I found myself overreacting to minor criticism, misreading people's intentions, and making decisions based on fear rather than wisdom. It wasn't until I faced my own internal struggles head on that I could actually lead others effectively. I started therapy, began journaling, and took up meditation. Yes, that's me. You see, these practices helped me unpack years of suppressed emotions and traumas. It was uncomfortable. No, scratch that. It was downright painful at times. But through the process, I gained clarity, emotional intelligence, and a sense of inner peace I'd never known. Healing isn't just a one-time event. That's where many people struggle. It's actually an ongoing journey. But every step you take not only frees you, but it also empowers you to lead others with authenticity and compassion. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to fill yours first and watch how it overflows into the lives of those around you. 5. Surround yourself with growth-oriented people. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of 5 people you spend your time with, or the most time with. Yeah, I used to do that too. I used to roll my eyes at that thinking I was immune to other people's influence. Spoiler, none of us are. You see, in my late 20s and even early 30s, I clung to friendships and relationships that were comfortable but extremely stagnant. We talked about the same things, complained about the same problems, and reinforced each other's limiting beliefs. It was a cycle of mediocrity masquerading as a commodity. It wasn't until I attended a personal workshop for personal development where I realized exactly what I was missing. You see, there I met people who actually challenged me, who were passionate about their goals, who held me accountable to mine. It was both exhilarating as well as intimidating. You see, I began to intentionally seek out individuals who were smarter, more experienced, or even more driven than I was. At first, I was extremely uncomfortable. I felt like an imposter, but over time, their habits, their mindsets, and their energy started to rub off on me. Your inner circle should be a place of growth, not just comfort. Surround yourself with people who actually inspire you, who challenge you to be better, and who also celebrate your victories without envy. And don't forget to return the favor. That's extremely important. Be the kind of person others want in their growth circle. It goes both ways. I heard a very powerful quote a long time ago. I don't know who said this, so whoever said it, I'm giving you credit now. But if you're not surrounded by people in your circle who encourages you to grow and actually encourages you to grow, you're not in a circle. You're in a cage. Lesson 6. Forgive yourself. Let's have a heart-to-heart conversation about forgiveness. I'm not talking about forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. I used to replay my mistakes on an endless loop, as punishing myself would somehow atone for them. It was like a game replay, right? When you're preparing for a football game or any other game, you're watching on loop. It was like I was carrying a backpack full of rocks everywhere I went, and it was exhausting. I remember one particularly bad investment I made in my early 30s. I sank a significant amount of money into a startup because the founder was charismatic and promised the moon. Long story short, it was an absolute disaster. I beat myself over for years, questioning my judgment and hesitating to take any new risks. One day, a close friend said to me, "If I talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, would you have any?" That hit me hard too. We often extend grace to others, but we're so merciless with ourselves. That's when I really needed to start to practice self-compassion. Whenever the negative self-talk began, I'd pause and ask myself, what can I learn from this? Where is this coming from? Instead of dwelling on the mistake, I focused on the lesson. Over time, I felt lighter, more optimistic, and more willing to embrace opportunities. Forgiving yourself isn't about just letting yourself off the hook, but rather it's about freeing yourself from the past to make room for a better future. So give yourself the same grace you'd offer a dear friend, because despite what you may feel, you deserve it. Number 7, break the generational curse. Yeah, this one was really special for me. You see, if you come from a family with a history of struggle, be it financial hardship, addiction, or emotional dysfunction, you might feel like you're stuck in a cycle that's impossible to break. In my family, financial instability was the absolute norm. Money was always tight, and the mindset was one of scarcity. When I started to earn a decent income, I found myself self-sabotaging my own success, subconsciously believing I didn't deserve more than what I had grown up with. So one day, I stumbled upon a quote. You are the transitional character in your family. That idea, that very idea, is the power to change the trajectory of future generations. That was both a heavy responsibility and an empowering revelation. I began educating myself about finances, investing, and wealth building. I addressed my self-limiting beliefs around money and just success overall. It wasn't just about accumulating wealth. It was actually about setting a new standard for what's absolutely possible. Breaking a generational curse is not easy. I get it. It requires you to confront deeply ingrained beliefs and habits. And the older you are, the more challenging and difficult it is. But imagine the impact. Honestly, imagine the impact, not just on your life, but on the lives of your children, their children, and so on. It's the generational curse that you've got to break. The chains you have got to break. You have the power to be the change agent in your family's history. You just got to decide. So, if you're carrying the weight of past generations, know that you can put it all down. You can start a new course today, but it does start with you. Number 8, purpose beats profit. Let's talk about the chase for money. You see, in my 20s, I was laser focused on increasing my income. I took jobs solely based on the paycheck, invested in ventures that really promised quick returns, and measured my success by the number in my bank account. Sound familiar, right? Maybe not so much with you specifically, but a lot of you, I'm sure, could resonate with this in some shape or form. But despite achieving those financial milestones, I still felt empty. You see, the satisfaction was fleeting, almost like a sugar rush that quickly fades and leaves you craving for more. Yeah, me too. I realized I was climbing a ladder that was actually leaning against the wrong wall. Around my mid 30s, actually, probably even my mid or early 40s, I began to explore what truly mattered to me. What was I really passionate about? What kind of impact do I want to have on the world when I leave this blue marble? I started volunteering, mentoring, and eventually transitioned to work that aligned with my core values, which is why I'm here. So guess what happened? Not only did I find fulfillment, but obviously the financial rewards followed. Clients and opportunities appear seeming out of nowhere. People are drawn to passion and authenticity. It's magnetic. Now, I'm not saying you should abandon financial goals. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. Money is important. It does provide security, freedom, and the ability to contribute to causes you actually care about. But when profit becomes your sole purpose, you end up bankrupt in more ways than one. So align your work with your purpose, and you'll find riches that money just cannot buy. And ironically, that's when often financial success finds you. Number 9, your story can be rewritten. We all have these narratives we tell about ourselves. Stories about who we are, what we're capable of, and what our future holds. I like to put a big old banner right here. BS! For years, my internal dialogue was filled with self-doubt and limiting beliefs. I'm not a natural leader. I'm too old to start something new. I've missed my window of opportunity. I'm not fill in the blank. Yeah, we all tell ourselves this crap. You see, these stories weren't just thoughts. They actually became self-fulfilling prophecies. I avoided opportunities, fled away from challenges, and settled for less than I deserved at every opportunity. See how I did there? One day while journaling, I decided to write down all of these negative narratives, just as I'm challenging you to do. Seeing them on paper actually made them feel less like truths and more about assumptions. Then I challenged each one. Was I really too old? Or was it that convenient excuse? Was I truly not a leader? Or had I just not stepped into that role yet? I began to rewrite my story, crafting a narrative that was empowering rather than limiting. I bring a valuable experience to the table. I have the courage to embrace new challenges. My past has prepared me for a successful future. This shift did not happen overnight, but it was transformative. Opportunities started appearing not because the world changed, but because I did. I was now open to possibilities I'd previously dismissed. Remember, you're the author of your story. You can be the hero of your own story. If you don't like the current plot, pick up the pen and start writing a new chapter. It's never too late to change the narrative. Number 10, vulnerability is actually a superpower. I used to equate vulnerability with weakness. And actually that word itself is actually a weakness of mine, because I can't say it more than once. In my mind, showing emotions or admitting struggles, especially as a man, was like handing someone ammunition to use against me. So built walls, thick walls, high, impenetrable. But over time I realized those walls didn't just keep the pain out, but it kept joy, connection, and authentic relationships out as well. I was safe, sure, but I was also isolated. See, a turning point came when a colleague shared his own struggles with burnout and mental health during a team meeting. His honesty was met with empathy and support, not judgment. It created a ripple effect encouraging others, including me, to open up. So I started to share my own challenges. First cautiously, right? But then more openly. The result was absolutely astonishing. Relationships deepened. Trust was built. And I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. I wasn't just carrying this burden alone anymore. You see, this vulnerability fosters connection. It humanizes us. It reminds others that they're not alone in their struggles, and creates a space for genuine relationships to absolutely flourish. It's not a sign of weakness, but rather it's a testament to your strength and authenticity. So go ahead, take the armor off, share your story, your fears, your hopes. You might be surprised at how liberating it feels and how it enriches your relationships. And by you doing that, it also inspires others to do the same. Number 11, your trauma doesn't define you. Let's get into some heavy territory. Yeah, heavy. Trauma is reality for many of us, whether it's from childhood, relationships, military service, or even life events that left deep scars. For a long time, I let my trauma define me. It was the lens through which I viewed the world, coloring every single experience with shades of pain and absolute mistrust. I avoided situations that might trigger memories. I distanced myself from people and built an identity around being a survivor of my past rather than a creator of my future. Therapy was a game changer for me. It helped me understand that while I couldn't change what happened, I could change how I could relate to it. I learned coping strategies, reframed negative thought patterns, and gradually shifted from a victim mindset to one of empowerment. You see, trauma is a chapter in your life, not the entire book. Acknowledging it is important, but it's also recognizing that you have the power to write subsequent chapters differently. You are not your trauma. You are the person who survived it, sure, and can thrive well beyond it. So, if you're struggling, seek help. There's absolutely no shame in reaching out. Healing is not a journey you have to or even should to take alone. Number 12. Past mistakes are just that. The past. Regret is a heavy burden to carry. I used to replay my past mistakes like a bad movie marathon. Poor financial decisions, missed opportunities, words said in anger. It was as if I believed that by punishing myself enough, I could actually change the outcome. Sounds stupid, right? Now that I'm saying it out loud. But the past is immutable, right? No amount of rumination will alter what has already happened. But what you can change is how you move forward from here. I began to view my mistakes as tuition paid into school life. Each one taught me something valuable about myself, about others, about how the world works. When I reframed my perspective, I started to see mistakes not as failures, but as feedback. This shift allowed me to take risks again, to put myself out there without paralyzing fear of messing up. And guess what? Yep, this guy still made mistakes, but I recovered faster and learned more. So, give yourself permission to let go of those past errors. Extract the lessons, absolutely. Apply them and step boldly into your future. The only way mistakes define you is if you let them. 13. Turn your pain into power. Pain is an inevitable part of your life, but suffering is optional. That might sound trite, but it's a distinction worth pondering. For a long time, I watered my own pain, letting it dictate my actions and limit my own potential. But then I came across stories of people who had transformed their pain into something meaningful. A mother who started a foundation after losing her child. A veteran who used his experiences to counsel others. An artist who channeled heartbreak into powerful creations. So I asked myself, how can I use my pain into something that not only heals me, but also benefits others? This question right here led me to volunteer work, mentoring, coaching, and eventually sharing my own story publicly. Turning pain into power doesn't mean bypassing the healing process. It just means that you're acknowledging your hurt, working through it, and then using the insights gained to make a positive impact. Your pain can be your platform, your message, your unique contribution to the world. Don't let it be a dead-end road, but rather make it a bridge to something much greater. Number 14, invest in inner healing. But listen, we live in a world that glorifies external achievements, career success, material wealth, social status. While there's nothing wrong with pursuing these, neglecting your inner world can lead to a hollow victory. You see, I used to pour all my resources into outward pursuits. I invested in courses to advance my career, spent money on things that boosted my image, and networked relentlessly. But internally, I was running on empty. It wasn't until I faced burnout and a personal crisis that I realized that I needed to invest in my healing, inner healing. I started therapy, explored mindful practices, even took time for introspection. This wasn't a quick fix. It was, and continues to be, a significant investment of time, energy, and, sometimes money. The returns, however, are immeasurable. Improved relationships, better decision making, enhanced creativity, and a deep sense of peace that are just a few of the dividends. Think of this inner healing as the foundation of a house. You can build a mansion, but without a solid foundation, it won't stand the test of time. Invest in yourself from the inside out, and trust me, your future self will thank you. The most important relationship is with yourself. This might sound self-indulgent, but it's everything but. The relationship you have with yourself tests the tone for every other relationship in your life. You see, for years, I sought validation from external sources, partners, bosses, friends, without realizing that the approval I craved only came from within. I neglected self-care, criticized myself harshly, and even ignored my own needs in an attempt to please others. Sounds dumb, right? But we do this. The result was a constant feeling of inadequacy and resentment. So one day I decided to treat myself as though I would a close friend. I began to practice self-compassion, set healthy boundaries, and took the time to engage in activities that nourish my soul. Reading, hiking, playing music, working out. As my relationship with myself improved, so did my relationships with others. I became more patient, more understanding, and ironically, more giving. You can't pour from an empty cup, after all, right? Prioritize the relationship you have with yourself. Cultivate it, nurture it, and watch how it transforms every other aspect of your life. 16. Legacy is built through conscious action. You see, legacy isn't something that just happens when you reach a certain age or achieve a particular status. It's actually built day by day through conscious choices and actions. I used to think of legacy as something grandiose, like a building named after you or some groundbreaking invention or maybe even global recognition. But rather, legacy is the small, consistent actions that impact others, the mentorship you provide, the kindness you show, the values you pass on to your children. So I began to ask myself this daily. What am I doing today that contributes to the legacy I want to leave? This question prompted me to be a lot more intentional with my time and to engage in activities that actually align with my core values and to be present in my interactions. Understand this, your legacy is crafted in the present moment. Don't leave it to chance. Make conscious choices that reflect the impact you want to have. And over time, those choices will weave the tapestry of your own legacy. 17. Surround yourself who want to see your potential. There is a profound difference between people who tolerate you and those who celebrate you. You see, in my early years, I spent time with individuals who didn't necessarily support or understand my aspirations. Their skepticism and lack of enthusiasm subtly influenced me to play small. Then I met a mentor who saw a lot more in me than I saw in myself. He challenged me, encouraged me, and held me accountable. Being around him and others like him elevated my own perception of what's possible. Dreaming big, thinking big. So seek out people not only who support you, but also push you to be better. These are the folks who will call you out when you're not living up to your potential, who will brainstorm solutions rather than commemorate over problems, and who will also cheer the loudest when you succeed, maybe in a cheerleader outfit. The most critical thing for you to understand, your environment shapes you more than you absolutely realize it, so curate it very wisely. Number 18. Rewrite the story in your own head. Yes, we did touch on this earlier, but it bears repeating because it's that important. The narratives we hold in our minds acts as scripts for our own lives. If the story in your head is one of lack, unworthiness, or this perpetual struggle, it's likely that it's exactly what you'll experience. I used to tell myself that I was unlucky, that success was for others, but not for me. Like Gandalf hasn't given me the nod yet. It's just not in my blood. This story justified my inaction and kept me in a comfortable but unfulfilling loop. You see, changing the story requires conscious effort. I began by identifying the negative thoughts as they arose and countered them with positive affirmations. Yes, I absolutely felt awkward at first, almost like I was lying to myself. But over time, these new narratives did take root. Now, the story in my head is one of resilience, capability, and abundance. And funny enough, my external reality started to align with this new script. And yes, it is going to be hard at first. If you're doing this for the first time, it's going to be hard and awkward. Over time, it will get better. Just keep repeating. And don't underestimate the power of your internal dialogue. Rewrite the story to reflect the life you want to live. Number 19, vulnerability builds connection. Yes, I know. We're circling back to vulnerability because it's that crucial. In a world saturated with curated images and highlight reels on social media, genuine connection is a rare commodity. People crave authenticity. I used to think that being professional meant being impersonal. In business settings, it was all about the facts and figures, keeping emotions at bay. But this approach actually created barriers more than bridges. When I started to share more of myself, my challenges, my fears, my hopes, I noticed a shift. Colleagues became collaborators. Clients became partners. Relationships deepened. And trust flourished. You see, being vulnerable doesn't mean oversharing or disregarding boundaries. It actually means being authentic, showing up as your true, authentic self, and allowing others to do the exact same thing. So dare to be vulnerable. It's the gateway to meaningful connection and enriching relationships. Number 20, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity, or a sign from Gandalf, or a sign from the universe, often leads to stagnation, and it never comes. I spent years in a holding pattern, hoping that circumstances would align in my favor. Boy, was I wrong. Then I realized that the most successful and most fulfilled people aren't waiting for permission or ideal conditions, but rather they're out there making things happen, taking risks, and adjusting course as needed. They're creating their own momentum. So I decided to take ownership of my future. I set clear goals. I devised actionable plans and took the first step, even when the path wasn't fully illuminated. Actually, maybe half the light bulbs were kind of burnt out. I'll be honest. But along the way, I learned to adapt, and I learned, and I grew. You see, your future isn't a predetermined fate, but rather it's a canvas awaiting your brushstrokes. You have the power to shape it through your choices and actions today. So stop waiting and start creating. The best way to predict your future is to actually build it yourself. No one is going to do it for you. No one is going to save you. You've got to do it yourself. So there you have it. 20 life lessons etched into my very soul through years of experience, triumphs, and yes, plenty of mistakes. My hope is that by sharing these experiences and insights, you can navigate your own journey with a little bit more clarity, yes, and at my expense, and a lot more confidence in moving forward. Remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story, to pivot, to grow, and to become the person you aspire to be. Life doesn't come with a manual, but it does offer lessons along the way. The key is to pay attention, reflect, and apply what you've learned. All right, real quick, make sure you check out the link in the description for a free 25-page blueprint inspired by a program I've created, packed with actionable content that you can do today, immediately. Covers everything we've talked about and a whole lot more. So I appreciate you spending this time with me. If any of these lessons resonate with you, I actually want to hear about it. So let's keep this conversation going. Hit that like button, share this video, and let me know in the comments which lessons spoke to you. Because actually, we're all in this together. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like it, don't forget to give it a good old thumbs up. It really helps the channel out and expands the reach to impact a lot more amazing people just like you. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos and maybe include some of my bad jokes. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep moving forward. Let's continue to learn, grow, and build the lives we truly desire. And as always, I'm in your corner. See you soon.